weekend.
You're watching NBC 10 at Issue.
Back with Congressman Joe Sestak. Sonia Sotomayor, the sitting judge, has been nominated to be a justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. Rush Limbaugh, a leading spokesman, if not the leading spokesman for conservative political-minded people in the United States, says that she is a racist. What do you think of that?
I don't understand any basis for why he says that, or for why he would ever try to make it so personal. It's the worst part of politics. Step back and look at her. A big city prosecutor, corporate litigator, appointed to the bench first by President Bush, the first one, appointed to the higher appellate court by President Clinton. This is a woman who is bringing more experience in the last 100 years of federal judicial experience on a bench than anyone to the Supreme Court in 100 years, and of any type of judicial experience, the most in 70 years to the Supreme Court.
Why, vote to confirm her if you were
Absolutely. I reviewed it. I was aware of her because of President Clinton in my time as serving Clinton administration.
What do you think about the argument that someone may put out that says, look, you can be for, but you should wait to see the hearing process and how that went through before you actually announce to the public how you're going to vote?
I've watched these hearing processes, and I've participated in some of our own hearings, and something sometimes can come out, but I think it's also very important that if you are aware of who this person is and have been close to them, and you've seen this in this race, some people came out without seeing what Darlan's really for, you know, that you should feel comfortable in saying that you're for him, and let the chips fall as they may if something else comes out afterwards. But I don't mind stating what my opinion is, because someone did ask me, and I was aware enough of what who she is, that I feel that this is a very good nomination.
North Korea firing more missiles and rattling sabers in the strongest way that I can recall since the late 1960s, perhaps. And there are people really worried about the 28,000 American troops there, about whether or not that's enough, whether we could stop this million-man army if it wanted to do something. What are your thoughts?
There is that concern, because as I've spoken before on this show, the tragic misadventure in Iraq actually has our army to where in open testimony they said the units that are supposed to deploy to South Korea are not ready to do so. That is a concern. Second, I think we have to step back and understand that just like the political situation we were talking about, there's an internal succession problem going on in North Korea where hardliners are stepping up to be more hardline because the leader has had a stroke and his sons are vying for succession, and the military for the first time is overtly belligerent in trying to say this is what we want to have happen. We've got to let that dynamic play. The third ingredient, which is very important, is China. China has the same goals as us, no nuclear weapon on a missile, but its priorities are different. It doesn't want humanitarian overflowing from North Korea to its borders, so it says not too much on sanctions, but now it's worried about Japan or South Korea probably beginning to pursue a nuclear weapon, which is a less good for them. So I think we have the opportunity, if we're thoughtful and deliberate.
Are you convinced China would go for a unified Korea? Do they want a democratic neighbor on their border?
No, they do not, because they don't want to have, in a perfect world, a unified Korea where there might be U.S. forces. So in a perfect world, they'd like a stable, non-economic North Korea. And that's why working with them and having that brought about, we can make this happen if it's done well and deliberately. But let's get our army, once again, ready to do whatever it has to do around the world.
It seems like almost every year or two now, though, that China gets more leverage on the United States.
Yes.
Them holding so much of our debt.
Yes.
Are we almost politically impotent against them in anything in their theater?
We're not. But I have always said the strategic center of gravity for the United States interest in this world over this century is in the Western Pacific vis-a-vis China. I can remember when I was in the White House and we moved 2 carrier battle groups, I was Director of Defense Policy, off the coast of Taiwan because it was raining missiles north and south of it. They stopped when we moved our battle groups there. Today, Steve, as you alluded to, it could drop over the $1 trillion of reserves it has, or it could drop the $1 trillion in public bonds it has, and the devastation to our economy could be much more. This is an economic, financial, diplomatic, and a security, us as an honest broker in the region issue. Where is our China policy? And we don't have one, and we need to get to that.
More with Representative Joe Sestak in a moment on NBC 10 at Issue. Stay tuned.